After defeating Ramit, Gon, Killua, and Kite further advance into the territory of NGL and come across a cliff. When Gon speculates this to be the Chimera Ants' nest, Kite corrects him that the ants do not make nests in holes. Kite leads the group within the cliff, to which Killua later identifies as a drug factory. He assumes that only the leaders of NGL know about its existence, and that the Chimera Ants have discovered the facility and wiped out all the workers. As Gon begins to ask questions, Kite immediately hushes him, sensing the presence of few Chimera Ants. Killua asks him about N, to which Kite replies that he could stretch his N up to 45-meter radius. From the middle tunnel, a centaur-like Chimera Ant named Yeonju arrives, accompanied by two naked men crawling on the ground. He accuses Kite and his group for trespassing his territory. One of the men, identified as Spot, begins to call out for help. Yeonju punishes his dog and kills him. He claims that he has become bored with his dogs. Rover immediately pants and howls like a dog, but Yeonju admits that begging only motivates to kill him. Gon is about to rush towards them when Kite stops him. From the other tunnels, two members from Yeonju's squad appear, Mosquito and Centipede. As Yeonju proceeds to kill Rover, Gon turns away. Kite admonishes him for doing so, saying that turning away could lead to another attack. Then Yeonju declares that he would make the three hunters his new dogs. Kite gives out the order. He would take Yeonju, while Gon and Killua would fight against Centipede and Mosquito. Centipede follows Gon and attacks him relentlessly with punches, which Gon effectively blocks. Gon delivers a powerful blow on his opponent's left side, but Centipede only praises the power of his punch. Realizing that Chimera Ants are tougher, Gon proceeds to use his Jenkin. On the other side of the field, Mosquito flies overhead, taunting her opponent. Killua goes into assassin mode and uses the Snake Awakens, an assassination technique, to dismember Mosquito. Enraged, Mosquito attacks with her stinger, which Killua easily dodges, but it was her poisonous tail that has struck Killua on the back. She proudly announces that the poison in her tail is very effective. Killua falls on the ground, seemingly unconscious. As Mosquito searches for Centipede, her head is severed by Killua. Sensing her confusion, Killua explains that his body is immune to poisons. He kills her after Mosquito admits her weakness. In the Chimera Ant's nest, Ramit is seen crawling on the ground. He curls his fist, where aura emanates. Back in the drug factory, both Gon and Centipede hesitate to attack. Yeonju mocks his soldier for hesitating. Centipede begins to devise many plans to defeat his opponent. He decides to sacrifice his 8 legs to give him a chance to poison Gon. While the other two are occupied, Yeonju challenges Kite into battle. Kite inquires about the leader of NGL, but Yeonju only answers that he might already be inside the queen's belly. He rushes forward to attack, but Kite simply evades all of his attacks. Kite then summons his Nan ability, Crazy Slots, which complain about being summoned only when Kite is in danger. The slots proceed to roll and lands on number 4, a rifle. As Yeonju bolts toward him, Kite shoots him through the head, killing him. Finally, Centipede attacks Gon, but is left dumbfounded when Gon uses his scissors to bifurcate him. As he lies on the ground, he waits for Gon to come close enough for another attack. However, as Centipede jumps, Kite interrupts and shoots him through the head. Kite reprimands Gon that Chimera Ants could survive a day even with a head and body only. One must crush the heads to ensure death. Gon and Killua remember the Crazy Slots. The clown face explains that his slots go from 1 to 9, and each number sends different weapons. Kite dismisses his Nan ability and complains that he could not use another weapon until the one summoned by his Crazy Slots was used first. He calls the ability aggravating, leaving Gon and Killua wonder why Kite even came up with the concept in the first place. Elsewhere, Flutter announces that Yeonju's squad could not be reached any longer. Hina claims that the 3 newcomers look tastier than the others. Knowing that the rare humans are still close to the drug factory, Heijia, Hina, and Flutter make their move. Kite praises both Gon and Killua's abilities. He deduces that Gon has incorporated enhancement, transmutation, and emission in his Jenkin, whilst Killua is a transmuter due to his lightning. When Killua admits that he easily loses power, Kite ensures that he has time to improve. He leads the group outside the drug factory in search of the nest. Back in the Chimera Ant's nest, the pores on Ramit's body burst open and a large amount of aura is released, which leads him to learn Nen, much to the surprise of both Colt and Peggy. The Hunter Association finally learned about the Chimera Ants through a source of information. Netera receives an order from the world leaders to quickly eliminate the ants, and he agrees, knowing the leaders will put all the blame on the Hunter Association. Kite's team gets some information about the Chimera Ants' rank from the Queen, Royal Guards, Squadron Leaders, and Captains. When the King is born, the hierarchy is shifted and the King will take the place of the Queen and find a new one. Ramit rejoices about his newfound power, and Colt comes to a conclusion on how Ramit learned to use Nen, by getting hit by Gon's attack. He's sure the ants can learn Nen now and asks Ramit to punch him. Ramit happily agrees and hits him hard. Heija, wandering in the woods in NGL, informs his squadron to find their targets who are nearby. Kite, Gon, and Killua are suddenly surrounded by a large number of ants. The leader of the group, Frog, immediately confronts the three and gives them three choices. 1. Decide the order in which they'll fight. 2. Attempt to escape. And 3. By surrendering. The three choose the first one for one-on-one battles, and Kite says that one-on-one fighting is perfect and the ants have lost their characteristics of ants and are becoming more human. Gon fights first versus Barrow and Armadillo Ant. Before the fight, Gon asks his opponent the conditions to win. Barrow says the fight is to the death, and Gon asks if they can fight until one of them gives up. Barrow becomes impatient and attacks Gon. He evades, but Barrow strikes by shifting his course and is able to hit Gon that sends him crashing into a large tree. The Gon quickly recovers. Barrow explains why they're killing humans not by eating them or feeding on them to the queen, but because it's fun. This angers Gon, so when Barrow starts to attack, Gon releases a large amount of energy and stops Barrow with his bare hands, crushing him and leading to Barrow's death. Killua now is up against a huge ant with horns named Rhino, who calls Barrow trash. After analyzing Gon and Killua's abilities, Kite believes they can reach the queen's nest before she gives birth to the king, that we feel something bad in the air. Peggy wants to do research on Nen to understand it better and learn how to be able to synchronize it with their abilities. Colt, still hurt after Ramit's hit, remembers Zazen telling them about the rare human they caught. Killua is in control in his fight, but no attacks have any effect on Rhino, who is covered by hardened skin. Killua uses his electricity ability, cracking Rhino's chest, and instantly kills him using his hand. Kite is impressed by the two and wonders if he was worried about nothing. The frog immediately volunteers to fight. Kite uses his Nen ability, Crazy Slots, and a scythe appears in his hand. He advises Gon and Killua at the count of 3 to jump. The place is covered with fog, and the ants become scared of Kite's aura. In a flash, Kite spins using his scythe and kills every ant surrounding him. As the group advances, Kite warns the two to be more cautious, that it will be worse from here, and advises them to show no sympathy to their enemies. Gon replies that he will show no sympathy for the ants who call each other trash. Kite sees Gon's point of view as dangerous and fears Gon will hesitate if he sees an ant that cares for his comrades. On their way to the queen's nest, Kite senses somebody following them from the skies and quickly warns Gon and Killua. Flutter, an officer under Heija, commands his fellow dragonfly-like ants to distract the three while attacking them from a distance. The three start to run when the flying ants are visible. Gon and Killua attempt to attack, but can't hit them due to the trees where the ants are hiding. Kite realizes that the flying ants are luring them into a trap, as Heija and Hina lie in wait a short distance away to attack. Meanwhile, Peggy and Ramit head to the butcher's place to ask whether he has seen the rare human whom Zazen brought in. Unfortunately, they couldn't determine if he had been eaten by the queen or if he was still there. Pakal is seen alive and hiding in a pile of bones. While Peggy continues to bug the butcher, Ramit plans on mastering his newfound ability in order to become king. Suddenly, they feel a dark aura due to the awakening of one of the queen's royal guards. Flutter, Heija, and Hina witness the power of Kite making Flutter suggest to Heija and Hina that they retreat. While Kite's team approaches, Heija quickly understands the situation and realizes that they can't win against Kite and the boys. He realizes that no matter how powerful he is now, there are others who are much stronger. Heija knows they have no chance of defeating Kite and the others, but have learned more about rare humans, and one day they'll win. Kite, Gon, and Killua decide to follow them, knowing the trio of Chimera Ants shall return back to the queen's nest. Feeling the power of the royal guard member's aura, Ramit is struck with intense fear. He realizes that he is nowhere near this person's level, that his dream of becoming king is pointless, and that he should use his power to serve the real king. As they walk away, the royal guard senses and captures Pakal, who is still hiding under a pile of bones. The royal guard learns about the human brain and comes up with an idea to extract information on Nen from Pakal. The royal guard operates on Pakal's brain using a pair of antennae, forcing Pakal to tell them all about Nen. Meanwhile, Colt's Nen powers are finally activated. After learning about Nen from Pakal, the royal guard asks Ramit to try the water divination. Ramit falls under the enhancer category, and shortly after, the royal guard decides to take its turn. The leaf wilts, marking it as a specialist. Peggy is shocked by the fact that the member of the royal guard had Nen without first having fought a rare human. Finally, the royal guard reveals its name, Neferpitou. All the Chimera Ant squadron leaders and captains have been called to assemble in the ants' nest for an important announcement by Neferpitou. Peggy explains that those who can endure considerable pain will be rewarded with incredible power. Kite continues to use Ant to follow Heija, Flutter, and Hina, who are currently heading towards the nest. Killua explains how difficult it is to maintain N for long periods of time with great range. Killua thinks Kite is probably stronger than a Nen master because of his skills, and that he's the first proper pro hunter they have met, not including Bisky and Wing, who were their Nen mentors, and Sesgara, who they considered being just another player in Greed Island. Gon and Killua reflect on how they always seem to meet the right people at the right time in order to help them get stronger, and how Jin deliberately sent them to Kite after they beat Greed Island. Kite tells Gon and Killua he can't train them, and that if their resolve isn't strong enough, the ants will eat them. He explains that to be a successful hunter, you need to have a strong resolve and understand your enemy and yourself. Kite then remembers to give Gon a double-star hunter license. To Gon's surprise, it was Jin's. Jin gave his license to Kite, telling him to return it once he found him. Naturally, Kite forgot all about the license and had it this whole time, entrusting Gon to return it to his father once he finds him. Meanwhile, Rama is punching the squadron leaders with Nen in order to awaken their own. Suddenly, Pito's ears perk up as she senses something. Without hesitation, she leaves Peggy in charge and heads towards the presence she felt, saying that she wants to find out how strong she truly is. Kite quickly notices a dark aura approaching. He crouches down and tells Gon and Killua to run. Pito's leg muscles contract, tripling in size. Without warning, they leap directly from the ants' nest towards their current location. Gon and Killua hesitate. Kite jumps up and demands that they get away from him immediately. The next thing they see is Kite's right arm flying through the air. Gon takes one look at Kite's arm on the ground and unleashes all his Nen in a frenzy. Killua quickly knocks Gon out, knowing that if they tried to fight, they would only get in Kite's way or worse. Kite commends Killua for his choice of judgment and tells him to run as far away as he can. He activates his crazy slots Nen ability, rolling a 3, and readies himself for battle. Killua carries Gon through the forest, demoralized at how overconfident they were in their strength and how they aren't strong enough to help Kite. Killua crosses the NGL border stop and uses his phone to contact Kite's colleagues who couldn't accompany them. Monta explains that they have reinforcements and can come to meet them. The truck parks and Killua looks up to find that Taro and 2 other pro hunters emerge, Moral and Nav. After some unfriendly remarks from the pro hunters, Netero asks whether the enemy was strong. Still, in shock and angry, Killua replies one of them could use Nen, and that it felt worse than both Hisoka's and Illumi's. He further speculates that not even the 3 pro hunters could defeat it. After patronizing Killua some more, Moral explains that you can't judge a fight by who has the stronger Nen because you are unaware of the other's abilities. Any moment of carelessness can turn the entire battle around. He then goes on to say Killua was disqualified from being a hunter the moment he fled from the battle. Changing topics, Netero asks whether Gon is asleep, and Killua explains how he used force to stop him. Netero says that they have sent 2 assassins to the nearby village. If Gon and Killua want to continue fighting and remain hunters, then they must first defeat the assassins. Netero makes it clear that he only requires the strong for this mission. Heading to the village center, Killua checks the notice board to find a message awaiting them, asking whether or not they will fight. Later in the hotel room, Killua reflects on what Moral said. Soon after, Gon wakes up and thanks Killua for stopping him. Killua, convinced he let Kite die, is interrupted by Gon saying he definitely is still alive, and they should hurry and go back to save him. Agreeing with him, they go back to the village center and leave a reply saying they'll be ready anytime. Colt sends a message to all soldiers instructing them that they need a freezer that can store over 100 humans. Neferpitou explains that it's to ensure her collection will not rot. She gazes forward, confident in her strength, and on her lap lays Kite's severed head. Thank you for watching. Please remember to subscribe so you don't miss the next one, and give this video a like if you enjoyed it.